I like having the headphones on.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Mega video.
Yeah.
Mega
that
video
intro was fire.
Wasn't it though? Right on. Look, Brandon and Jeremiah in the house. So Adrian, you may not know, but Brandon was the one that wrote Make a Video, the music video that we put together.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, man. So super talented bunch. I'm really excited about you guys being here. It's been a long time coming. You guys have I seen how everything just kind of snowballed into what you guys are today. And so that's why I wanted to kind of bring you guys on and talk about your journey and where you were and how you got to where you got. So Jeremiah and Brandon are producers in San Diego. They have a video production company, but they're now more into bringing in leads and cases for PI attorneys specifically. Is that correct?
So yeah. I wouldn't call us a production company anymore. I would call us attorney advertisers.
Attorney advertisers. Great. Loudr Media. If you guys haven't seen what these guys are doing, they're making waves and just blowing up quick. And so I had the pleasure of introducing these two guys, and it's a testament to how you can grow and scale a company when you have the right people in the right seats and you have synergy. And that's what this podcast is really all about, is partnerships and how do you create these joint ventures and referral partnerships to make sure that you guys are growing, because we don't all have the same talents. And so if you can find what people are really good at and they can have that seat, you're going to grow your business. So give us the 2 to 4 minute background on how you guys got to where you got. And then I got tons of questions for you.
Well, like you said, Armando, you introduced Jeremiah and I. So Armando was my mentor at the time, and Jeremiah is at the time as well, and still is. And just one day, you were just like, "Hey, man, you got to meet this guy Jeremiah out there." He's doing the same thing you do. I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Ain't nobody doing what I'm doing." But he was, and there was a lot of synergy, and we linked up, and the rest is history. So it's been a journey, for the last year. How long has it been?
No, it's been
almost 2 years.
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
It's been a year and a half. Yeah.
But the last year specifically, we've seen the most growth. But the growth has been all an evolution at the same time, because as you said, we started off as producers. We still are producers, but more of a video production side of things, more content creators in delivering that as a service, to now evolving into same type of clientele, but now offering an additional service, a service that we feel we're more proud of providing, which is the lead generation and bringing our clients cases.
So how I first met Brandon is, I remember, Armando, you were here in San Diego, and first you called Brandon, you're like, "Yo, Brandon, come down." And Brandon's like, "I got the kids. I can't do it. I got the kids."
Sounds about right. You sound just like him.
and then he actually called me. I think you had put us in touch with each other. Mm-hmm. He had called me, and he was like, pretty much like, "Hey man, can you edit my videos?
Shoot a video."
And first, I was like,
and Jeremiah,
I was like,
I don't do that. That's beneath me. He's like, "I don't mean to sound like a jerk or nothing, bro, but that's beneath me now. I'm past that." And I was
so then it was like, and then I think he hit me up. I don't know, it was that same conversation or the next one. He's like, "Hey man, I want to shoot these videos. Can you? I'll hire you to shoot some videos." And I think he paid really good at the time. I played it cool. I was like, "Well, how much you want to pay me?" He's like, "Oh no, I was thinking I forgot how much he paid me, but I was like, I could really use the money now. By playing it cool, I was like, but I could really use the money. And then we shot like 3 commercials in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And like it was just super creative. Like we did all kinds of shit. Like it was pretty awesome. And it was for his company, Combined Habits at the time.
Right.
And you know what's funny is one of those commercials, right? We wanted to it's funny. We create all the time, and sometimes we create and we're like, this fucking video is whack, and we just shelf it. We just shelf it.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, or like down the line, we look at it, we're like, yo, this video is fire, man.
That's like the creative syndrome. You have such high standards in the moment. You're such a perfectionist in the moment, and then you do that. You look back, you're like, "Damn, that was kind of dope. I should have put that out." But then we did put it out.
Yeah, we did. We put it out, and I was just like, because we needed we're kind of burned out. We're like, we need some creatives to post, you know what I mean, and to like showcase our stuff. But we're like, can we use any of the ones we did for Combined Habits? Mm-hmm. And there was one that we could have, and I was like, okay, but I have to somehow be in it too. So we shot an extra scene of me in the back.
Yeah.
So I could be in it as well.
And we slapped it at the end.
It actually was the snowball effect that actually landed us a client, but who got us into actually generating leads for personal injury attorneys. And that was sort of the video that we didn't think it got no love. Like it got 4 likes.
But it got a client.
But it got us a
That's
high,
an important lesson.
But
effective.
It made us 6 figures though, over 6 figures.
Yeah. That was Daniel, huh?
Yeah, that was Daniel. Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's like, bro, I need a video just like this. And he had hired us. He's like, I want to have commercials just like this. So like, yeah, we could do it. And but I was like, what are you gonna do with the video? And he's like, well, I want to put advertising money behind it. And we're like, okay, like, bro, how do you feel about us managing the account? You know what I mean? Like we'll do it. And we did it like for stupid cheap, right? Because we just wanted like to get our foot in the door. And then we're like, well, how do you feel? Like we're running these type of advertisings for lead gen, and it's producing a lot of results. How do you feel if we like test it out for your law firm? And he's like, let's do it. And I was like, so we launched it, and then he just started getting all kinds of leads. Like he just like off the bat closing cases, like 4 cases in like a few days. And then he was just like, he was working with 5 different lead gen companies at the time. And then within like 60 days, he like stopped working on all of them and only started working with us. And that sort of was like our jump off client in that space.
Dude, I always talk about it. I always talk about that. You have to like prove yourself, right? And there's too many companies out there that are like, oh, I can get you this and I can get you that with no case studies, no proof, right? And then they wonder why they can't close deals, right? Yeah. And I'm like, well, why don't you guys create the case study first, make sure that the proof of concept works, then you sell the case study. You don't sell the service, you sell the result, right? And then you're going to get deals all day, which perfect example. I was on I got a client here in New Orleans, Justin Chopin, which last year I said, look, I want to build out your client journey for you. I had never done that for a PI firm, right? We had done social media, we had done all of this. And I was like, look, I'm going to do this for free. And we did. We spent like, it's a $20,000 offer that we did for free. Why? Because we had never done it before. But now we know, like, and it was a really good insight into a PI firm and how it all works and the philosophy behind everything. So now we get, oh, okay, these are the touch points in the evaluation phase. These are the touch points in the buying phase. So perfect example of that. I love what you guys are doing. That the energy was sick. That's why I was like, if you guys haven't seen their videos, and maybe we can like splice in some of that stuff, you know, when we do this podcast. But just excellent work. And
really
and
quick,
I love
Armando,
you guys,
that concept that you just went over with us, like you pushed us on that a year ago. You know, that was a hard pill for us to swallow in the beginning of like, it was like, man, it's so hard. The clients don't trust this, that, until he's like, man, you gotta do some shit for free. You gotta trade services, or you gotta find the way in the beginning to get the case studies and get the work under your belt. And yeah, this is the one concept you specifically said, chalk it up as a marketing expense. So instead of spending money on ads, which you're still shelling out cash, just do work for free. It's the same thing. except you're not actually
Right.
spending money. You're just kind of spending time. Maybe you have some expenses, but that allows you to get, it's a lot faster a route to getting those case studies and getting that experience.
Talk to me about the mindset that you guys had to shift, right, when this came about, because it's a lot of belief in yourself, right? Because when you're putting this together and you don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be, you're just like,
Right.
hey, I'm just going to work, and it may or may not work out, right? And did you guys at the time know that, hey, this is like a 6 month to a year long process, or did you think that it was going to be a shorter time? What was the mindset there?
Jeremiah always has the time. Jeremiah always has the timelines exactly somehow in his brain. He's like, bro, I'm telling you, this is an 18 month process. 18 months, nothing's gonna happen for 18 months. And I was
Really?
like, I'm like, bro, whatever. We can work faster and make things happen faster. He's like, yeah, 18 months. And
He
like,
said it?
Yeah. And then 18 months later, it was like, everything started happening. You know?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah. So I feel like it was an 18-month rule. Like it just takes time to compound.
Right.
And it was funny. So Brandon at the time, he was working his
At Orange Theory
at
Fitness.
Orange Theory Fitness, and he's been working there for like a decade. Easy money for him, right?
Yeah.
But it was like I remember there was one time we had to like re-up on one of his like certifications,
Yeah.
and he had to take this test, and he wasn't wanting to take this test, and he's like, bro, I'm just not going to take the test. I'm going to get fired or whatever it is, but we got to make $30K a month in like the next 24 days, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, there's no fucking way it's happening, bro. And I'm like, there's just no way. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. And like,
I ended up passing the test though. So I was like,
he,
all right, we're
look,
good.
he had to pass
We're
the
good.
test, thankfully, and like he kept his job because to be honest, man, like the first 12 months, bro,
Rough.
was super. I'm talking about making like negative money. Make like on a good month, we got to take home like 3K. Some months we had to take home like 1,000. Some months there was a couple months we didn't take home anything because we had to pay expenses and all that stuff. We were trying everything. We were testing, and we were like, let's do this. We're trying to find an offer that people wanted, and it was kind of humbling. Like it's one thing to be a creative, and it's another thing to run a business. It's two different things, and trying to scale a business, trying to grow a business. And we were like testing a bunch of like scalable offers because there was like a couple of things that we wanted. One was like to be like more remote. Another thing is to get paid more for like our creatives. And the biggest thing was to give the client
Value.
Yeah. And we were doing social media videos, but to be honest, like I was only doing social media videos as a hustle, not because I really loved social media. And actually, I'm always talking to people about being off social media. Like social media is like really bad for you and your mental health. Like for real. Like,
But we're dependent on it for our
especially
businesses.
if you're a business owner, go hire a social media person and have them run your entire social media. But stay off social media because it's just not good for you. You're gonna get overwhelmed in certain aspects of life. You know what I mean? It depends on where you're at. If you're like if you're trying to be locked in, be off social media. But if you're like have a bunch of time to kill and it's very social for you, be on social media. So
Be disciplined.
So yeah, we didn't love our offer. It was really like hard. Like it was really like hard. It was a hard sell for us. So we spent like a year trying to find an offer that really gave value to our clients. And we found that because they wanted leads, not just leads, they wanted cases, affordable cases. And they're paying lead gen companies like the defining moment for me. Actually, it was funny. We called up Lee Rudin, right? Who eventually became a client of ours.
Yeah.
I called up Lee Rudin and I was like, hey, Lee, we put together this package called the brand boosting package. It was 30 days of social media videos. It was a VSL, a landing page, and like an ad or
like
something,
a
right?
ad or something.
And we were trying to sell for like $7,500, right? It was like so cheap. And we're like, it's just a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer offer. and nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. I called Lee, and Lee's like, I don't really have the budget for it. You know what I mean? The only thing I'm spending money on is this lead provider that I'm working with. I'm giving him $15K a month. Sorry, Lee. I'm giving him $15K a month, but he's the only one producing results. And he's the reason he's the only one. He's the only guy I'm keeping on.
Right.
And that's why I looked at Brandon and I was like, screw what we're doing. We're fucking going all in on lead gen.
Yeah.
And we did, and we worked with, and we spent our own money, and we fucking tested for testing for months and months and months and months, got it dialed in, and then we became super phenomenal at it. And now we're providing clients with profitable cases that's sustainable and scalable. Like there's no other lead gen company you can work with that you can scale with. You try to tell a lead provider, hey, I want to give you like $40K a month and keep providing me more leads. They're gonna be like, I can't, because I only have so many leads I have to distribute. And to be honest, this guy kind of pays me $500,000 a year. He kind of gets the best cases. So, but with our model, it's like, no, because we're running advertising straight from your account. The more ad money you put in, the more cases you get out, because it's not being distributed.
It's exclusive.
Yeah.
It's exclusive to you.
That's amazing, man. It goes back to what I'm always saying. And I got a client that says, I got an unlimited budget for marketing that works, but marketing that works when it comes to converting too, not just like marketing for marketing's sake. Like, how is that tied into your sales process? And I'm having conversations now with, with all the clients that I'm working with. Is like, okay, that's great. Branding is necessary, obviously, right? Because here's the deal. You can do ads all day long and you can get people into the door. But when it comes down to the point where they have to sign with you, that's where the rubber meets the road. Do they trust that you can get them the compensation they deserve?
Right.
Or are they going to trust somebody else? Right. And so your branding, your case studies, all of that stuff comes into play at that point. That, yeah, okay, yes, when I get them in the door, I'm going to convert 50-60%. Right.
That applies in every business.
Yeah.
And that's every 100%.
Yeah,
that's
what we're dealing with right now.
That's called a differentiator. So what is your differentiator? Like, what makes you different from everybody else? So we got the cases in, of course, you're going to close the cases, because at the end of the day, people just want the money. That's all they really care about, is the money. So they don't really care what your differentiator is. They don't really care about anything else. They just care about, are you going to get them the money?
Well, that's trust, though.
That's trust. Right. But here's the thing. Let's say you got the cases in, you're making money, and you're like, hey, now I am taking market share. What is going to set me different from the big guy in town? And that is going to be your branding. What makes you different? Yeah. And also, branding is good for local, right? Like the billboards, the social media, and radio. That is what you're gonna. But you need to get cases in the door first. And the hard part, like you don't have this problem, because you have a magical way of getting the best out of people, Armando, especially like law firms. And my biggest frustration was when I was doing only branding, was people will come to me like, I want to become viral. I want to become famous. And I'm like, the stakes to become famous or viral is high. And to be honest, like, you have to have a certain look, a certain X factor, a certain personality to crack that code. And if you don't have whatever that it factor is, or that X factor is, if you don't speak a certain type of way, like, you're not going to go viral being like, I'm a lawyer and I'm provide the best value and I'm this. And let me tell you, it's like, dude, you have no personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was so funny. I got back from the 8-figure firm conference, right? And the phrase of the conference was, nobody knows you. And Lewis, shout out to Lewis, right? Mentor of mine. He started putting up pictures, right, of actors and athletes. And they're like, do you know who that person is? 40%, maybe 20% of the people knew. Do you know who this person is? And they're famous. Like, these people got millions of followers on social media. But it just goes to show that nobody knows you, right? If I go to France, do you think that they know who Patrick Mahomes is? Probably not. maybe right. 10, 15% of the people may know who Patrick Mahomes is, right? They know who Travis Kelce is only because
Taylor
Swift, right? But that's my point. It's like, continuing to market and continuing to brand and continuing to put yourself out there, and ads and billboards and the whole nine. Like, it just needs to continue to escalate. right?
Yeah.
Lewis was saying like, you got to just double the amount of stuff that you're doing right now, double it for 2025.
Yeah.
Because that is the only way you're going to continue to get noticed. Because just like Jeremiah said on this call, right? It's a compound. I love that you said it was like 18 months because it is the long game, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about when I started Spaghetti on the Wall, right? My other podcast to now, right? And the credibility and the social currency I have now compared to when I first started is completely different. Right. I mean, the fact that I'm, getting to speak on stages, and I'm getting invited, and like the social currency is now changing, but it took 4 years of like daily posting. And I'm not like blowing up on social media, but the people that need to know me. Right.
And I think that's
cool with me.
And that's the importance of kind of niching to an extent, right? Because the more you can shrink your circle of your audience, the more you realize like, if I only have to appeal to this audience, then this is my world. And I don't have to step outside of that world and worry about everybody else. And that's a faster route to like blowing up or whatever, is having a more defined niche.
Be famous in your niche. And something like, so I don't know if people know this, but you are the reason why Brandon and I became who we are.
True that.
Because I've never thought about working with attorneys until you told me to work with attorneys. And I remember when I was just a videographer, a guy with a camera, couldn't figure out how to make money. I remember you're posting on Facebook, like just closed 70K. And I was like, this guy's a scammer. Just post 30K. I'm like, this guy's lying. Like no one's doing numbers like that. And just posted, I just closed the 40K. And then I remember I messaged you and I was just like, yo, man, like, how do I get like you? And you gave me like, bro, you don't want, like, just be yourself. And I'm like, and then I remember like we jumped on the phone. And I was like, oh, here we go. This guy's gonna try to sell me on coaching. Like, I know what it was. I know what it is now. It's his funnel. And and you just gave me so much value, and you worked with me like for free on just like on some homie shit. And you just like stayed in touch with me, and you were like you were just giving me game on what you were doing. And it wasn't a lie. Like you were really pulling numbers like that. You're really like busting out deals. And you just told me you're like, hey, start a podcast. You told Brandon the same thing. Hey, start a podcast. And that's how Brandon and us actually started working together. It was like, hey, like we need to create content. Like we were still working our separate businesses. And we're like, hey, let's collaborate on a podcast. Because Armando keeps talking about this podcast thing. Hey, like I've been looking for a place to rent. You've been looking for a place to rent. We just so happened to go to Brandon's friend's workplace where she was the manager and allowed us to use one of the offices that just end up being our office. You know what I mean? And we're like, hey, this is a perfect podcasting office. And we built it up, and we started podcasting, and those guests became clients. And
I mean, I think it's a test. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, it's like people want to do things their way all the time. And I feel like that's a huge reason why you have to do that to an extent, but it's a huge reason why people don't grow as quickly as they can. Is they like, you hear advice all the time, but are you actually implementing that advice? And it's like, and Armando always says your speed of success is defined by your speed of implementation.
I wish I could take credit for that, but that's Lewis's
But
phrase.
you said it though.
But
hey, Lewis got it from somebody else. Don't worry.
Yeah, the speed of growth in your business is tied to the speed of implementation. But it's true. Like you implement, you're gonna grow. It's all predictable too, right? Like Applebee's knows on a Friday night how much meat they need to buy.
Right. And what was crazy, like, so I knew nothing about sales. I thought sales is this is what we have, this is how much it costs, and people just bought it if they wanted it, right? And when you're selling a high ticket offer, it's like no, sales is a lot more than that. I had no sales ability, but you were telling us like, hey, you have to call 10 people, 10 by 10 every day. And we started doing that. I remember we were doing one, like we were both like scared, like
trading off.
Like I was like, we would get anxiety before crazy anxiety, bro. And
bro, Armando, remember when you first told me to start, you said, go on Indeed, type in social media manager. And all those people obviously have a need for, social media, and then just call them and say like, I have something better for you. And you had me leave him this voicemail. You had me leave that guy this voicemail. You're like, he says like, this is what you need to say. You say, hey, I see you, you have this ad on for Indeed for social media manager. I just want to talk to you for a moment and tell you why that's a terrible idea. And then the guy called me back. He's like, hey man, I gotta call you back because that was like one of the best voicemails I've ever heard. And then after that, he proceeded to just destroy me. And it was like the most defeating call I'd ever been on. And then That was the only one I made. I didn't make another call for like 6 months.
Yeah, it was tough. It was riddled with
But
anxiety.
if I had did that 10 times or 20 times or 50 times, I would have 1,000,000% gotten results. But I was just,
and that's what and that's what we first started doing. We started like first trying to pitch our services 0%, like 0%. It was just because the difference between dealing with law firms and let's say a real estate agent, right, is you have to get through. First of all, you have to get through a call center, which is just a VA, which is just a agency
or a secretary,
and it's like you're not getting past. All right, what's your name? Your number? I'll leave a message, right? And so 0% ever worked. Except for and then we started switching to the podcast model. Hey, this is Loudr Media. We want to invite you to the Get Loud podcast where we just interviewed X, Y, and Z, and we'd love to have you on too, where we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, marketing, and law, and help out, blah blah blah.
And that was like 50% conversion.
And like 50% conversion. Just we would get calls back, even like, oh my God, thank you for thinking about me.
Do we need to pay for this?
Yeah, do we need to pay for
how
this?
much is it?
No, like where is it? Like, no, it's a person. and then we that's how we got started. And we built so many relationships from doing that. And it was so simple. And it was just like leading with value. And then we would cut up clips. And then we would collaborate on some of our handful of our clips went like viral, like millions of views and stuff. That actually did not get us any business at all, by the way. It get millions of views, but it was good for
credibility.
It was good for the client, the people on our podcast stuff. There was actually only one person who got mad. They felt like it was a finesse. So like, oh, I thought you hit me up because you just wanted like to podcast. I didn't know you were gonna try to pitch me on anything.
Yeah, one out of 50.
1 out of 50.
Let me tell you this. I'm completely transparent. I can when I get them on the sales call from after the podcast, and Adrian's been on those calls. And I'll let you pop in, Adrian, and ask some questions. We're just chopping it up.
Yeah, what's up?
Adrian? Oh no, man, I'm just listening because I know I was gonna say I've been sitting over here laughing because I've been on a lot of those calls lately.
Yeah, I've been getting him to like make the phone calls. But what I've noticed is like when I get them to the sales process after the podcast, and I go, hey Jeremiah, look, I'm going to be quite honest with you. This is our system, right? In every sales conversation, every sales technique that I've taken for the last 20 years, they talk about, what's the first thing they talk about? Let's build rapport. You got to build rapport, right? So what do? Hey, Jeremiah, you live in San Diego. Were you a Charger fan? Oh, well, are you a Charger fan now? No. Oh, it's a good weather. Great. Now let me bring you into the sales conversation. Right?
Yeah.
That's what happens every single time. And so I told him, I go, Jeremiah, I already did the rapport building. That's why you were on Partnership for Profit. And you got to talk to Adrian. We had a conversation about you. We said, look, there might be some synergy here. And now I'm bringing you into a help conversation, not a sales conversation.
Right.
Because I know I can help you. Right.
Right.
And I know I can put this system into your business. This is what we do. And then it's like, it's totally transparent. I'm not trying to like, Trojan horse them. I'm just like,
we made that shift.
What we do.
We made that shift. We made that shift eventually as well. We started putting that up front. It was even in the initial call, we let them know like, hey, and if it's cool at the end of the call, we'll tell you more about what we do and how we might be able to, work together or partner up.
If it's interesting to you.
Like, if it makes sense.
We also do this. It's not, you're not obligated to do it. Like, it's just like, if it makes sense for you, like we could talk about it. If it doesn't, it's all good.
And it always went.
We'll still get you clips and stuff.
Yeah.
100%. Talk to me about y'all's growth this last year and what you guys are planning on accomplishing by the end of 2025.
We've grown a lot. You want to go over it?
You guys don't have to say numbers. If you want to, it'd be great. But it's up to you.
Do you want to say numbers? I mean, we can.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll tell you numbers. We're pretty transparent, you know what I mean? Because we want to give you here's the thing. Like I want to give people the reality of what it's like to have an agency. You know, I don't want like this cookie cutter, like you could just get rich. Some people do. The people who get rich fast, there's typically things on the back end that you didn't know about them. Right. Like they typically worked in sales before starting the agency. They typically they grew up and knew a marketer, or they knew there's typically things on the back end that they knew before they jumped in fresh. When we jumped into this, we jumped in fresh with no marketing background, no sales background. We were just
a creative. We had a creative background.
Just a creative background,
right? Which is not nothing. At the same time, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah,
that's what allowed us to provide our service, was having the creative background. But as far as actually like monetizing it, that was the hard part. you know, like, especially when I transitioned from being like a musician and an artist into like trying to figure out a way to make more money from my passion and my skill set, you know, that was the hardest shift.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started doing the jingles and that's started working with you, Armando. But I would say, just to kind of talk about our growth, from 18 months to starting at like $0, Jeremiah and I just meeting, figuring out like, hey, maybe we should partner up. All of that discovery phase from like $0 to now, we went from what?
It was because we're on a different offer now.
Hey, but it doesn't matter.
No. But no, don't give it the 18 months. Give it
Okay.
like how many months it took us to get to like 10K a month, right?
I don't remember.
So it took us we got to 10K a month and we stayed still there. But then we just launched our offer like less than a month ago.
Right.
So it took us like a while to get to 10K a month, and we just kind of like sustained it around there for like,
that was with the social media side though.
On the social media side for a while. It was kind of hard to surpass that like 12.5, right? We couldn't surpass it 12.5. And keep in mind, we also have expenses and we're splitting it 50-50. But so we stayed at 12.5, and then it took us, and now we're at
50.
We're at 50K a month now, but we got to 50K
in monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah.
MRR. But we got there in 3 weeks.
Also because we signed a bunch of clients.
Yeah. So we got there in 3. So
that's how it works.
Yeah. So we got there in 3 weeks, and we're pretty confident we'll get to 100K a month by the end of February.
But
awesome.
it was the moment that it had to do with like our confidence in the offer. You know, we were so confident because we were seeing results with that first client that Jeremiah was talking about before. And we saw so many results, and we're like, man, it's like, once we get to here, then we're going to start branching out and offering it. And what we started to do was we offered it to our existing clients that we had worked with, clients that we were doing social media stuff for, that we started there. So that made it very easy because we were just selling to people that we already had in the business. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, we're doing this. We've been seeing success with this. You guys want to try it? Okay. You know, and that was much easier than selling to a cold audience. And that was kind of like our starting point, allowing us to get those case studies and those testimonials. And that one led to another one. That one led to another one. That one led to another one. And then we just started advertising for the offer in the beginning of this month, the beginning of January. And we signed up 2 clients in the first week. That was crazy. And then that brought a whole slew of other problems. Then obviously like internal, like with onboarding and all this stuff. And so now we've kind of fixed all that stuff. And now we feel like we're in a position where we can truly scale because our systems are in place.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do people find you guys?
LoudraMedia.com. And that's LOUDR media.com. And it's Loudr.media on Instagram.
That's awesome. And are you guys specifically working with anybody or just PI firms?
Just PI firms.
Just
currently,
PI.
Currently
just
only
right
PI
now.
firms.
So our goal right now is to get to a certain level with PI firms. So this is what we learned, instead of like, because we can help others niches in law, right? But it took us a while. It takes a bunch of testing to get good at one thing. Like, you can't just launch something and they get hits. It's a lot of testing, test, optimize,
in the ad space.
So right now we have that dialed in for PI. We want to grow it to a certain point where we're comfortable being like, hey, this is systemized. We have we don't even really have to be up in it anymore, besides being at a C-suite level. Now we can open up to, let's say, employment law, or we can open up to even a completely different niche, roofing or whatever it is. But we want to build up this side of the business before we even think about opening up another branch.
100%. I think that's where you guys should stay. Just stay in PI. And I mean, you can stay in PI for years and have enough business that'll take you to 8-9 figures. I see it all the time.
That's the goal. Our goal is to get to $1 million a month.
Yeah.
100%. I think you'll do it.
It's funny about the niche. One last thing about that is that everyone who is above us in terms of success at their business, they always say, stay in this niche. Everybody else says, why don't you work with other businesses? I don't understand. Wouldn't it be so much easier to work with other businesses? And it's just like, you have to think about who you're listening to. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, you say it, Billie Jean told us, like, it's just like, why not?
and before we wrap up this podcast real quick, I just want to give out like a little bit of advice to the people just starting off, right? And I would say a couple things. One is learn sales. Really learn sales. Like learn a system, learn a framework, and learn how to sales. Learn about sales process. Learn about persuasion. Learn about how to have a proper conversation. Learn about how to dig for pain. Learn the art of persuasion and learn sales. It's a whole thing. If you could learn that, it's going to make everything a lot easier for you. Another thing too, is the biggest thing I learned, right? And the best way I learned how to explain it is through colors, right? If you're selling orange and you're trying to sell orange and you're trying to convince your prospect why orange is so great. Orange is so great because of this. Orange is so great because of that. But they're coming to you because they need purple. They're wanting purple. They're like, hey, I want purple. But you're like, no, but orange. Like, look how dope, look what you can do with orange. Look at orange can do this. Orange can do that. You're just gonna be hitting your head. You're gonna burn through a bunch of money. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna get a job. Give the people what they want, not what you want to give them, but what they want and need. And read Eugene Schwartz from Breakthrough Advertising talks about this. He's like, there's no amount of persuasion that can make people interested in something they're not interested in. I mean, there is PR, there's propaganda, but it works on the back end. It takes time for culture to pick up on it.
It's gonna be a lot harder.
It's a lot harder. It's so much easier to sell people on what they already want. Just give them what they want. Quit trying to force your shit on them.
To add on to that, the thing that we also learned a lot this year is how much marketing is tied to sales. And it's like they have to work together. Like if you don't have good marketing, your sales is going to be a lot more difficult. It's going to be a lot harder. If you have great marketing, your sales is almost easy. It's almost lie down. You know, the better they can be sold before they even get to the point of sales. Then if that's the case, you're only just dealing with general objections like cost, you know, and things like that.
Yeah. And the last thing is, if you're just starting, try to do as much free shit as you possibly can, and try to get and do good work and put your all into it and keep your emotions not tied to it. And the biggest lesson I learned in business, I'll leave you guys off with this. This is the biggest lesson I learned in business. And I learned this the hard way. I used to do free work for people thinking that they would hire me, and I would do it for like either free or super discounted. And I'll be like, if only I could prove to them why this is valuable. And I'm going to do it for them for months for free. And then 3 months, once they see how valuable it is, they're going to give me more money. And I learned the hard way that you cannot convince somebody who doesn't see the value in what you do, even though you do it for free for them. So stop trying to waste your time trying to convince people of the value of what you do by even giving, I'll just give it to you for free and all that stuff. Find people who already see the value in it, but maybe they don't quite trust you all the way because you're just starting.
Right.
Give them the value because they already see the value in it.
Yep.
And they'll be the ones be like, hey, I see the value. I'm going to start paying you more. I'm going to give you a good testimony and case study.
There you go. You heard it here first, guys. Loudr Media, Brandon, Jeremiah. I'm proud of you guys, man.
Thank you. Armando.
Y'all are my case studies. And I told you a year ago, right? When I started mentoring you guys, same deal, right? I was like, y'all saw the value. I was like, I want to make sure that what I'm teaching and what I'm mentoring actually works, right? Like, I don't want to be another guru out there that's like, I can help you, you know, and then they don't have a track record, right? Be like, yeah, these guys, look at them. You know what I mean? Like, they're living it, they're making it happen. The mindset's right. You know, they're continuing to learn, you know, and we're going to continue blowing up. And I love it. So I appreciate you guys being on. You guys, if you're PI attorneys and you're looking to get more cases, these guys are the real deal. And you don't even have to hear from them. Just look at the case studies. That's it. Look at the case studies. I appreciate
Thanks, Armando.
I appreciate you.
Hey, Adrian, next time we'll get you, you know what I'm saying?
Next time I want to hear more about make a video. That's what
All
I
right. Yeah. We'll get into creative stuff next time.
Hey, you must have got a good mic. I didn't hear the train this time.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. The old train. And it went by too.
I heard it.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah, I heard it a couple times.
I didn't hear the train. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear the train either.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Later.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.